Islamabad, 2026. As American and Chinese warships face off in the Arabian Sea, a Pakistani diplomat confides, "We are walking a geopolitical tightrope and the winds are getting stronger." This sums up Pakistan's dilemma, caught between the US, its complicated historical partner, and China, its all-weather friend. The world is watching. Will Pakistan be forced to choose a side? The stakes are enormous for this nuclear-armed nation of 240 million. Pakistan's geography puts it at the crossroads of South Asia, Central Asia, and the Middle East, a position it's long leveraged to its advantage. For decades it balanced ties with both the West and China, mastering the art of diplomatic maneuvering. But today, that space is shrinking fast. The US-China rivalry is no longer distant. It's shaping Pakistan's economy, security, and future. Internally, debates rage. Should Pakistan lean into China's economic engine, or remember the benefits of US partnership? Every major decision, from trade deals to military purchases, is now filtered through the lens of this great power contest. The choices Islamabad makes in the coming years will shape not just its own destiny, but the region's stability. The world watches as the tightrope walker of Asia tries to maintain its balance in a gathering storm. The stakes could not be higher. To grasp Pakistan's predicament, we must first understand the US-China rivalry. This isn't a Cold War replay, it's a multi-domain contest for technological, economic, and military supremacy. The US seeks to preserve the post-Wabipwai order it built, rallying allies to counter China's rise. Washington worries about Beijing's trade practices, military expansion, and state capitalism. China, meanwhile, wants to reshape the global system to reflect its interests, not overthrow it. Through the Belt and Road Initiative, it's building new networks of trade and influence, offering developing nations an alternative to the Western model. This rivalry is global in Africa, Southeast Asia, and especially in technology, where battles over 5G and AI are fierce. Unlike the old Cold War, today's world is deeply interconnected, making the contest more complex and dangerous. For countries like Pakistan, this interdependence means every choice carries greater risk. The pressure to pick a side is mounting. Pakistan's dual relationships with the US and China were forged during the Cold War, shaped by its need for security in a tough neighborhood. In the 1950s, Pakistan allied with the US, joining SEATO and CENTO, receiving military and economic aid in return. The partnership peaked during the Soviet-Afghan War, with Pakistan as the frontline state for US-backed Mujahideen. Simultaneously, Pakistan built a deep bond with China after the 1962 Sino-Indian War, united by a common rival, India. China became a key supplier of arms and nuclear support, especially when US sanctions hit. This higher-than-the-mountains friendship was based on shared interests, not values. For years, Pakistan skillfully balanced both F-16s from the US, JF-17s with China, intelligence sharing with Washington, state visits to Beijing. But the world has changed. The US and China are now direct competitors, and their rivalry is playing out on Pakistan's doorstep. The old balancing act is harder than ever. Pakistan's room to maneuver is shrinking. The stakes for every decision have never been higher. By 2026, the US-Pakistan relationship is a shadow of its former self, marked by mistrust and limited cooperation. The war on terror brought billions in aid, but also deep suspicion. Washington accused Pakistan of double-dealing, while Islamabad felt unappreciated. After the US withdrawal from Afghanistan, Pakistan's strategic value to Washington plummeted. The US now tilts toward India, seeing it as a counterweight to China, leaving Pakistan sidelined. Today, cooperation is narrow, mostly counterterrorism, with military and economic aid a thing of the past. The F-16 program is limited to maintenance, new sales are off the table. US development aid has shrunk, replaced by slow-moving private investment. Yet, US influence in global financial institutions like the IMF still gives Washington leverage when Pakistan faces economic crises. For Pakistan's elite, the loss of US ties means less access to technology, education, and markets, a source of growing anxiety. In contrast, Pakistan's partnership with China has never been stronger. China is now Pakistan's top economic and diplomatic backer, offering what Washington no longer does: massive infrastructure investment, modern arms, and unwavering support. The China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, CPEC, is the crown jewel, a multi-billion-dollar network of highways, power plants, and ports linking China to the Arabian Sea. CPEC has eased energy shortages and modernized transport, while Chinese arms now dominate Pakistan's military. The Pakistan Navy inducts advanced Chinese frigates and submarines. The Air Force flies JF-17s and J-10Cs. China shields Pakistan diplomatically, especially at the UN, and expects loyalty on issues like Xinjiang and Taiwan. This mutual support forms a powerful bloc challenging Western influence. For Islamabad, China is now the indispensable partner. CPEC is at the heart of Pakistan's hopes and its anxieties. Supporters hail it as a game-changer, modernizing infrastructure and reducing power cuts. Critics, including the US, warn of a debt trap, opaque contracts, high-interest loans, and fears of losing strategic assets if Pakistan can't repay. Local concerns echo these warnings: rising debt, limited job creation for Pakistanis, and lack of transparency. The reality is mixed. CPEC has delivered real benefits, especially in energy and transport. Gwadar Port is now a deep-sea hub, but the risks of dependency and elite capture remain. Pakistan's challenge is to manage debt, ensure transparency, and maximize local benefits. Whether CPEC becomes an engine of growth or a long-term burden depends on Islamabad's choices. The stakes are high, and the outcome is far from certain. Pakistan's decision, lean toward China, mend US ties, or keep balancing, has global consequences. Its location, nuclear arsenal, and role in regional security make it pivotal in the US-China contest. For Washington, losing Pakistan to China would be a major setback, giving Beijing a strategic corridor to the Arabian Sea and complicating US operations in the region. For China, a loyal Pakistan secures a route to the Indian Ocean and strengthens its hand against India. A successful CPEC would showcase China's development model worldwide. For India, a China-aligned Pakistan is a two-front challenge. For the region, Pakistan's choice could mean stability or new tensions. If Pakistan maintains balance, it could act as a stabilizer. If not, the risk of conflict rises. The future of South Asian stability hangs in the balance. Pakistan faces tough choices, each with risks and rewards. Aligning with the US could restore aid, technology, and trade access, but would anger China, risking economic retaliation and diplomatic isolation. Siding with China ensures investment, arms, and UN support, but risks total dependency and alienation from the West, threatening key exports. Remaining neutral preserves flexibility, letting Pakistan benefit from both sides. But neutrality is harder as both powers demand loyalty. Trying to please everyone could leave Pakistan isolated, with neither side fully trusting it. The leadership must weigh short-term gains against long-term sovereignty. In a world of intensifying rivalry, the space for non-alignment is shrinking. Every path carries peril and opportunity. The stakes for Pakistan's future could not be higher. As 2026 unfolds, Pakistan's future remains uncertain, with mounting pressure from both Washington and Beijing. Three scenarios emerge. First, the Chinese embrace. Pakistan fully aligns with Beijing, deepening economic and military ties, but sacrificing autonomy and risking Western isolation. Second, the difficult reset. Pakistan tries to repair US ties without abandoning China, making tough reforms and acting as a bridge between East and West, a path requiring immense diplomatic skill. Third, the muddle-through forward. Pakistan avoids a definitive choice, tilting toward China but keeping US channels open, managing crises as they come but never resolving the core dilemma. Each path shapes not just Pakistan's destiny but the region's future. The choices made now will echo for decades. Pakistan remains the tightrope walker of Asia, one misstep away from crisis. The world is watching. The stakes are immense. The next move is Pakistan's to make.